What is up, everybody? Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Welcome to another seven-figure MSP live webcast. My name is Chris Weiser here with you guys today. Waiting on my trusty companion that's going to be doing the webcast with me today. That's Ryan O'Hara. Ryan is an MSP and was like, I think I need to reboot now.
And then it took forever.
It's typical, how it goes, right? Well, Ryan, you came back into us being live, so welcome to the party. So that's kind of cool.
Hello.
So we got a great webcast for you guys today. Gonna just get rolling here. Let me get you good? Ryan, you are lagging.
I'm good. Yeah, so are you. I don't know if it's me on the source side. I got my backup laptop here ready to go just in case.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see where it goes here. Anybody? So you guys that are here with us live, throw me some stuff in the chat to make sure that you guys can see us. We got a ton of people on with us live. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Let me just make sure I am good too. Yeah, I'm good. It shows you're on Wi-Fi and have low signal quality, just so you know that.
Yeah,
but for me,
hardwired
it shows me. Okay, cool. So
we're
getting people commenting, so that's great. Yeah, it's weird. It could be a StreamYard problem. Who knows? I mean, there's always this stuff. Now, just whatever you just did, it just went away. So that was good. So that's good. So we got a lot of people on with us live. Awesome, guys. Good to see you. So we got a really cool webcast for you today. You kind of get a unique experience because you get two guys that used to own MSPs in the same room together, which Ryan and I, we're both kind of unique because we both used to be techs. And when I started my MSP back in 2004, late 2004, early 2005, I was the only tech. Ryan, we went through this last week on our all hands coaching call. And I immediately started hiring help desk guys and phone answering guys and all that stuff out of the box. And Ryan, I was in Milwaukee. Ryan was actually in Detroit. So we were actually both Midwest guys. And, Ryan, you are an MSP owner as well. I sold in 2015. When did you sell?
Last April.
Okay. 2023 for Ryan. So we're going to give you guys some pretty unique stuff. Now, a couple things that I'm going to talk about early here, and we'll get into this just while we wait for people to join, just make sure we get as many people in here as we can. And Ryan's trying to deal with his little bit of a tech stuff here. How you doing? You okay? You're still lagging like crazy, man. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I think it's wired. I'm going to switch to Wi-Fi because I think that might be part of the problem here. I think something's going on with my connection.
If any of you guys as MSPs can help Ryan, that might be the path you want to go. So I love it. I love it. But anyway, so we're going to give you some unique stuff today. Most MSPs don't run regular business reviews, which I find to be honestly astonishing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this just while Ryan gets going here. But a lot of MSPs do not do regular client reviews. We've done a couple of surveys to not only the public, but our membership as well in seven-figure MSP in our coaching program. In our coaching program, we see about 80% of members run regular client business reviews. But in the public, we see about 25% runs client business reviews. And I think most of it is like, hey, we really want to, but either we don't know how to do it, or it's uncomfortable and I don't want to deal with it, or I just don't have the time. And not having the time is probably the biggest factor that we see, that people saying they don't have time for it or don't have the avenue to do it. So we're going to give you a pretty solid roadmap today on how to run what would be known as a client quarterly business review. Now, a couple of caveats I'm going to throw in here for you guys out of the box. Number one, I like to call them TBRs, technology business reviews. And Ryan and I kind of go back on this back and forth, because an industry standard term in the MSP world is quarterly business review, QBR, all these terms. That's what that is. Now, I personally view this a couple of different ways. Number one, you should be meeting with your clients on a regular basis. That's thing number one. Without question. The more important the client is, the more often you should meet with them. Now, Ryan's going to go through actually really quick. How do we quantify what's important? Well, for the most part, how much do they pay you and how important are they to your business? the more often that you should meet with them, right? So if they're a whale, you should be there at least every month in person, meeting with their principals. Ryan's going to walk through what to review today, but I want to plant that seed. The more important they are with you, the more often, and I don't care what you call it internally. It doesn't matter. I would probably not call it a technology business review or a QBR or a CBR, cybersecurity business review. I wouldn't call it any of that stuff with your clients. I would just meet with them and you run the agenda and you run the show. These things are really, really critical. Think about like going to your accountant. Think about any professional services industry that you personally work with in your business. The experts that you hire, if they're any good at their job, what do they have you do on a regular basis? Review numbers. They control the cadence. They review whatever their measurables are with you, and they control the cadence. So I want to plan a couple of those things in your head, and I want you guys to be very conscious of that. That stuff matters so much. So if you're relying on your client to meet with you, it's not going to go very well. First of all, it's probably not going to happen because they don't have time for this. The second thing that I'm going to tell you, and I have not really reviewed Ryan's slides for today, so a little bit of this I might be saying over the top, but another thing I want to make sure I plant is how critical, mission critical it is to focus on the things that the stakeholders care about. Stakeholders do not care about tech reports and ticket numbers. Maybe if there's an issue, you address it, but for the most part, you want to talk about things that the stakeholders care about, which overall, without question, in every business, stakeholders care about money and the things that move the needle to them. So money is one of them that moves the needle. But then what other metrics does that decision maker care about in their business? It's usually not ticket numbers. It's not response time. It's not stuff that they think they're hiring you for anyway. Okay. So I'm going to go through a couple things really quick here, and then we're going to bring Ryan on here. We're going to walk through this stuff. We'll get rolling. So I'm going to add a couple things here to the stage on my side, and then we'll bring Ryan here. Let me make that a little bit bigger. I wonder if I think I'm almost better smaller, huh? I don't know. We'll see. We'll get there. Okay. Oh, shoot. I screwed that up. Okay. There we go. I think, actually, Ryan, just so you know, I know you're still listening. I think StreamYard's having some problems because I'm seeing some weird lag on my side too. So I wouldn't entirely say that it's not you. I know he's switching devices right now, but we'll get rolling here and we're going to get, I'm going to get started and then we'll bring Ryan here in a minute. So a couple things for you guys today with me. First of all, my promise to you that we're going to do for today, we're going to show you exactly how to use CSRAs within and inside of your quarterly and technology business reviews, depending on how often you do them, whether they're quarterly, whether they're monthly, whether they're honestly, if you have a massive client, you could do it weekly. There's a lot of things going on here. Okay. A lot of stuff going on. So I want you to pay very special attention to everything that we're dealing with today. We're going to show you kind of how to conduct these, but the bottom line is we are going to refocus your QBR from this ticket-based, backup-based. Hey, Ryan, you got a ton of background noise now too. So I don't like you got so much stuff going on.
To the backup computer. Hang on. I think I know it's the mic. You always have a backup, and now I got to switch.
You got to just mute your. I'm going to mute you for a second. Sorry, guys. I think it's the platform that we got going on today, but we've got a lot of weird stuff going on that's not normal. So bottom line, we're going to show you all the stuff to help you add thousands a month to your business. And at the very least, keeping your clients very, very happy. That's really important things to be mindful of. So we're going to show you all the steps to this. Just by being on the call today, you're going to get a ton of free, really, really valuable content along with multiple deliverables to help take you to the next level and to add this to your MSP offering, to add this to your MSSP offering. There's all kinds of different pieces that you can do that we're going to show you guys today. We're going to show you the sales process that we use inside of our program with our existing clients for their existing clients. So this is not necessarily about new prospects. Now you can definitely use this to sell or to do these other things, but the bottom line that you should be focusing on with today's content is this is how you keep existing clients happy. This is how you make sure that you're ahead of this. Remember, I said, think about what the things that the stakeholders care about, what moves the needle to them, and then you schedule your reviews with them on your cadence. Now, again, that depends on the size of the client, minimum quarterly. My largest, probably 5 clients on my MSP we met with every single month. And I want you to be very mindful of that. So we're going to take these processes, then help you learn this. And now I know our company is called 7-Figure MSP, blah, blah, blah. We have people say like, oh, you only work with 7-figure companies. Are you doing 7-figure deals? Because you should be, because that's the level. So we're talking about 7-figure years, 7-figure quarters, 7-figure months, 7-figure deals. That's the mindset you want. And all the same principles and prospects and pieces apply to this. Okay, guys? So keep that in mind. And if you guys stay until the end with me, I got a couple of things with you. I have multiple prizes. So one winner is going to get a $250 Amazon gift card. That's going to be delivered through tremendous.com. So that works in Canada, that works in the States. If you're in the UK, it's the only place that doesn't work that we've kind of figured out. If you're in the UK, we'll get you PayPal or something like that. We'll get you cash. But it does work in Australia. It does work in the US. Also works in the United States, obviously, as well. So one winner is going to get a $250 gift card. Second winner is going to get a $100 Amazon gift card as well. Oh, you know what? I'm hitting my backwards button on accident. Second winner is going to get a $100 Amazon gift card. And then everyone that's with us on the webcast is going to have the opportunity to get a $50 Amazon gift card by booking a call with our sales team. We're going to give you a booking call link a couple times during today's webcast, and we'll see where we guys get from there. Okay, last thing I got for you guys before I bring Ryan in here is please pay attention. That means, and I know this is tough for you guys because we got tickets up. We got all the stuff blowing up all the time. So that means put your tickets away, put your phone away. My phone is put away over here on the side. Put your phone away for a while. Close your tickets, close your email, close your Teams, close your Slack. I know it's hard, guys, but let's just try and focus on no distractions for 60 minutes. Like Ryan and I had committed to making this a 60-minute webinar today, and that's our goal, is to give you guys 60 minutes. And let's see what we got from there. We're going to have a time for Q&A. We're going to have a bunch of other stuff. And if you're serious about changing your life, give us 60 minutes. It's all we ask you to do. And then we'll work on, we got questions. We got some other stuff as we go here going out. And then at the end, I'm also going to have a little gift for you guys, a special bonus, our ultimate cybersecurity risk assessment guide. Ryan's got a giveaway that he's doing, which is a deliverable that he built up specifically for QBRs, TBRs, just for this webcast. And then I have our ultimate CSRA guide that's redone for 2024, which I'm going to give you guys a link for as well. So just to give you a little background on me, if you don't know who I am, I'm going to go through a couple different things for you guys. My name's Chris Weiser. I was an MSP owner up in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin market. That's about, for you guys that are not from the States or even maybe North America, that's about an hour and a half north of Chicago in the Midwest. So we had about 1 million person overall market. I started that MSP in 2005. So early, like January 2005 was my official start date. So end of 2004 in reality. Sold that MSP mid 2015. So I had that over 10 years. I had almost 300K of MRR when I sold the company. Now that was before cybersecurity. That was before all this other stuff that really happened. So all those same principles that I took to grow that company from a 0-person shop, or, I guess a 1-person shop, to a 30-person, pretty decent sized company. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I was a $100 million company owner. We did very solid revenue. We had a really good company that was profitable. I sold it with a good 7-figure exit, but it wasn't retire money. So I do different things. And what I've done now since then is built a multi-million-dollar 8-figure. In fact, we found this out last week. We won. We are in the Inc. 5000 for the second time as well. Can't really officially announce that yet, but I can say it on a webcast. We are in the Inc. 5000 for the second time. So we built a multi-million-dollar 8-figure coaching firm called 7-Figure MSP. And everything that we do in this company, everything that we do in this program is built on making you guys profitable cash. That's what we do. Yes, we want you to be really successful service delivery companies, but nobody does well if you don't make money. And I'm going to promise you that. I had somebody tell me on the post last week, Ryan, they're like, oh yeah, all money, you just suck at managing money if you're not profitable as an MSP. And okay, that's fine, but you got to be profitable, and you got to know how to run the business the right way, especially in today's world. Speaking of seeing me on stage, we do have our Denver event coming up here shortly. This is our Q3 2024 Double Your MRR live training. This is at the Brown Palace in Denver, Colorado. That's in the States. We have an awesome event. We have our live. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, August 13th, 14th, and 15th, 2024. We'd love to have you come spend a couple days with us. Here's your URL. Ryan, if you want to throw that in the chat for me as well. That's our URL to sign up for that. I'm also going to have a thing on the screen, but you can come join us. We have some amazing speakers. We have Mr. Penn Gillette from Penn and Teller. We have Jeff. What the hell's Jeff's last name? I can't remember Jeff's last name. Guy doing a whole talk on AI.
Oh, it's an L, isn't it?
Yeah, I just brain fart. But also we are doing our Wednesday night event is going to be at Red Rocks Amphitheater. We are going to go see Spoon and Revitalis. We have a whole custom area and some really cool stuff for that as well. That's going to be brought to you by a couple different sponsors that are with our group, from FlexPoint to Citricom and a couple other different partners that are helping us out on that as well. So you guys can either hit that URL that Ryan put in the chat there. You can also, those of you guys that are on Facebook and LinkedIn and the rest of the places, you can hit that QR code or go to sevenfigureMSPevents.com/Denver. We'd love to have you guys there. And it's really, really cool. So, Ryan, I'm going to kind of let you go. I'm going to bring up your stuff for our next slide.
All right.
We'll let Mr. Ryan O'Hara take it away.
Does it sound better a little bit now?
Definitely better than it was. I
ended up switching to my backup laptop. So I think that there's some StreamYard issues. I think my laptop was freaking out a little bit as well. And then when I brought it back, I don't think it's your laptop. I think we're seeing some lag here and there, and I think they're having some internet issues at StreamYard today. So could be. It was significantly better when I switched, so it is what it is.
Yeah, everything that I see right now is great. So I'll just let you take it away.
We'll keep going on. All right. So as Chris mentioned, we're going to talk and we're going to use the term QBR, but we're mainly using the term QBR because it's an industry standard term. We're going to teach you how to use that as leverage to have these conversations with your customers and educate them on the things that they really need to know, the things that are maybe important to them that they don't even realize that they need to be focusing on right now. Because, like, let's face it, if you think about the MSP industry for years and years and years, like, it's for them, it's been about, like, mapping printers and my computer's running slow. A lot of these small, medium-sized business clients don't even realize that risk is something that they need to look at because they're just living in that bubble of, I don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. I'm too small. Like, things are not going to happen to me. I don't have anything hackers want anyway. So what we need to do is have these conversations with our customers and make sure that they are aware of the risks. We have to talk to them about this and let them come to terms with this so that they can ultimately make a decision with actual information. So, like, one of my running jokes is that your average business owner puts more research into what they're having for lunch that day than they do into how they choose their IT company. And I think that's really, really true. Like, if you really look at it, like, all of the traditional sales process, the traditional conversations we have from an IT standpoint with a lot of business owners, like, it revolves around either price or, like, my computer's not running that fast. And things have obviously changed in this world with the risks that are coming out. And we need to find ways to have these conversations with our customers. So when we talk about QBRs here, this is our opportunity now as the provider for that company to have these conversations and be able to really educate them on what they need to be worried about, because we're the experts in this situation. And in a lot of cases, we're going to need to flip the script on that because they're really just looking at us more as a general service provider, right? We need to be more the doctor than the janitor.
Yeah, I really like what you said there. And I want you guys that are watching this to really think about how you work with your clients and where the positioning is. Ryan, we talked about this in our onboarding call this morning, coincidentally, right? And I think this is a really important concept, and it's a little bit of a mind shift that you as an MSP owner and your team needs to think about. This is no longer a place where your client should be allowed to dictate any of this. You think about any professional services organization that you work with, they dictate the cadence, they dictate the when and the why and the how and the what. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you're a jerk. Like, it's fine to do this stuff and be professional because your clients will respond to this. Now, we don't go in and be like, rah, 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 but you're actively talking to them and being really conscious of setting expectations. Here's when we're going to meet. We are experts. And what's the why? I want you to be understanding the why. The why is making sure they realize that this stuff is really, really necessary because we have to now lay a path showing that we cared about protection and recovery. There is no more prevention, guys. Your clients have to understand that. And I know you're sitting there like, oh, I can prevent some stuff. Yeah, I know we can prevent some stuff, but we can't prevent everything. So you have to go into every single meeting saying, here's our best courses of action. We have to be ready for D-Day. The hurricane's coming. We got to get ready. And we have to make sure that somebody's here to pay the bill. So you're laying that groundwork behind you, that path, establishing so much deniability and making sure your client just understands the why. That's so critical now. Okay, Ryan, sorry, take your thunder.
And it's sometimes it's a difficult conversation to have because you know that they're not going to want to pay for it. You know that like they're just thinking that this is another upsell sales tactic. But if you really, really think about it, the real disservice is not explaining to them what's really going on out there. Okay, we see day in and day out, the statistics show it. We've dealt with, most of us, some form of incident response. So we're seeing this happen on a daily basis, and not educating our clients and allowing them to have that standpoint, that assumption that they're not a target, I think is the bigger disservice than not having this conversation with them in the first place. Yeah. And if you think about it, like you go to a doctor, right? Doctor's going to tell you what they recommend as far as a treatment for whatever you're there for. Like you've still got the right and the opportunity to decline that treatment and go a different path. But the doctor has as a responsibility to let you know what's really going on and what their prescribed treatment would be, what the best course of action in their opinion would be. We're no different anymore. And that's the reality we live in. And that's what we need to educate our customers. So my first question to people is, how many of you are actually doing some form of QBR, TBR, regular check-ins with your client? Go ahead and put it in the chat if you can. But this is something where I talk to a lot of MSPs, and I don't think I've ever had anybody disagree and say that this was a bad idea or this was not something that you need to do. But the number of people when I talk to them that are actually doing this is surprisingly low. And I think part of it is because people don't have an idea of what to do. I think a lot of it is not, when we think about the tech mind, right? Like, are you actually covering things that they care about? A lot of us have that tech background. We started these businesses because it was something that we were good at and we were familiar with. And we talk a lot about tech, and the average customer that you have doesn't care about that stuff, right? So we're spending all of this time talking about tech and tickets.
And actually, I'll say this too, even if they care, it doesn't serve their best needs.
Right.
So I want you to be mindful of that. Like, even if you have somebody that likes tech and you're entertaining them and they're staying focused, it's not necessarily in their best interest to talk about tech and tickets.
It's not actionable in a lot of cases. I mean, like, minorly so, like you're talking about maybe response times or things like that, but it's not stuff that's going to drive their business. It's not something that's going to dictate their decision-making process for the next 6 to 12 months, right? So what you need to be focusing on are things like risk and money. Like, you have to think about these conversations less from I'm a technician and I'm going to talk to them about tech and tickets, but more from a business owner to business owner kind of conversation. Okay. And when you think about the business aspect of your company, you're thinking about things like risk and money, because without money, you don't have a business. And you have to be playing the odds and looking at risk, because if you're not taking risks, or if you are not aware of the risks that you have at stake, you're going to have some potential problems with your decision-making process in your business. Okay. Daniel had an answer to my question about QBRs, and I think this is probably another one that's very consistent answer that I get from MSPs. Yes, but not consistent. So, it's probably one of those things that comes up when something comes up, or when you have something specific to talk to them about. And I think this is another reason why, in a lot of cases, customers are now kind of geared to, when we reach out to them to have meetings like this, they just assume that we're coming to nickel and dime them or upsell them on one thing or another. Okay. Now, what we're going to talk about here is yes, if they're not on a full cybersecurity stack, we are going to be making recommendations to them, and we are going to be talking about stuff that they need. But the context in the way that you deliver this is really, really critical, right? We're not going in and giving them a sales pitch per se. We're going in and we're educating them on something that they probably didn't know much about at a minimum before we had this conversation. So each QBR really should be whatever you want to call it, should be a mini risk assessment, because that's one of the critical things that they need to understand and they need to be aware of. And again, while they know, they probably have a better idea of the calories than in what they ordered for lunch than they do how much PII is on their systems. And that's a problem. So we need to educate them on what their risk actually looks like, because that's a really perfect example. I mean, I don't know how many of you have done CSRAs in the past or have evaluated things like personal identifiable information, but I know for me, I know for a lot of people who are part of our community, like when you start having those conversations with customers and ask them how much personal identifiable information they have on their network, I mean, short of like the really obvious examples, like a CPA who deals in social security numbers and financial information, most business owners are going to tell you, oh, I don't have anything like that. We're good. Or it's in the cloud. I don't have to worry about that.
That's the big answer now, right? Yeah. Is it in the cloud? I'm good. That's the whole CDK breach. If you guys don't know what that is, a big car dealership back end got breached in the last couple of weeks, probably about a month now, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's still ongoing, so it seems like yesterday because we're in the middle of it.
Still ongoing, but a lot of the dealerships, in fact, we had a member talk to us today that he's doing a CSRA with a CDK dealership literally today.
Yep.
And one of their big responses to him prior to that is, "We're in the cloud, we're great."
Right.
So these people need to understand.
Well, and it goes back to the unintentional ignorance, right? Like, most of them still don't understand even what the cloud is. I mean, it's not that different than, their old server that they used to have on site. It's just now somebody else has it. So that data still exists someplace, and you are the person or the company that your customers trusted with that data. So whether you use a third party or store it locally, that responsibility is still yours. And we all know that there's a million ways that somebody can get that. It doesn't have to be somebody attacking that cloud provider. It could be something as simple as, an attack on one of your computers and a simple keylogger to get the logins to log into that. But the point being is we need to educate them on what their risk really looks like, because most of them don't have a clue. They have those assumptions about, being in the cloud and being safe or being somebody else's responsibility or, not being a target. We need to talk about this stuff to them so that they can make an informed decision on how they want to manage it. Okay. And at the end of the day, it's their decision. But if we're not educating them on it, they don't have the information in order to even be able to make that decision. So that's our job. And when I talk about this not being a sales pitch, that's the way the context and the way that you speak about it. It's about educating your customers, because even if they do decide to go and accept that risk or take another course of action to handle that risk, now they're at least 10 steps further from where they were before, because they understand what their risk actually looks like. And that's part of the service that we offer. And that's how you are able to set yourself apart as an expert, as opposed to, somebody who's just coming in and selling the latest tool that another vendor had sold you, right? Which is kind of how we've been doing things for years. We added that next thing to our tool stack from this vendor that we met at a trade show or something. And now we're trying to sell that to our customers. Now we're selling cybersecurity, we're selling risk, we're selling a risk management, we're selling a platform based on cybersecurity frameworks to provide the solutions to that, to provide the layers to help them. But we need to educate them so that they can make that decision for themselves. So what we're going to go through here is kind of the process. And I purposely didn't go super heavy on the slides because I wanted to have some conversation. I know Chris and I both have a lot of opinions on this, a lot of background on this. So we're going to have some conversations on some of this stuff. And now you may have customers either now or in the future that are already on your full stack cybersecurity plan. This is the process for those that are not on it. And quite frankly, this still applies in a lot of those cases as well, because this is a constantly moving target. It's constantly evolving. Things have changed. Cyber attacks are way up. We've been saying that in our community for years, and it's no different today than it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, right? Like honestly, it's just changing faster as we continue to move forward.
Yeah. One thing I want to say on this too, there's definitely some of you that are going to say, what do you mean my full stack cybersecurity plan? So one of the things that we train inside of our coaching program is one stack, no more good, better, best. Mm-hmm. You should be, now this is not saying, I want you to be very, common sense applies to this. And I want to be very conscious. I want you to be very conscious of this. And I want to be very clear. think about what you should be putting in at every single client. And that's where you really have to be now. And that's what Ryan's going to go over here. But I want to just kind of like set the bar as the reason we talk about this and the reason we talk about good, better, best no longer existing. Like you can deliver down the road, whatever. Okay. It's a math problem. It's not that hard to figure out. But the bottom line here is going into every single client, you should be delivering to them. And this varies based on every single client. You should have a baseline, kind of standard, but it really varies based on every single client. What should we be putting in for them? That should be your baseline. And that's where you should be sitting with every single client. So when we talk about your full stack cybersecurity plan, it's you did an assessment. This is what they should have. We've educated them so much that they have the knowledge now to where they're going to like, okay, we understand why. So if you're doing exactly the same stuff that you've always done and you just plop in front of them, a 200% raise in prices to put cybersecurity, they're going to be like, get the hell out of my office because all you're doing is jacking up the rates. There has to be concept and process and procedure behind this that's completely different than how you've done this in the past. And I want you to be very, very conscious of that, because if you try and walk in the door with a 200% or 500% raise and they don't get it, all you are is a widget. And what do people do with widgets? They price shop widgets. So be very mindful of that. Sorry, Ryan, I just wanted to get that out.
Well, and the opposite could be true too. I mean, this is something that we've talked about a few times where I had an example of this. You can also have clients that trust you implicitly, that you've got so much know, like, and trust built up that when you go and talk to them about cybersecurity, they know it's coming. I don't have the time to listen to this. I just want, just tell me where to sign and I'll upgrade, right? That's, you can have the exact same problem in the opposite direction with that, because eventually they're going to go, why am I paying all of this? If they don't understand the what and the why, it at some point it's going to come back to price, whether it's 1 month from now or 6 months from now. If they don't understand why they're doing it, they need to be educated. And a lot of this just has to do with that mindset shift from that MSP business owners need to have, from that providing a service to being an expert. Okay.
Yeah.
Whether it's ongoing MSP services, whether it's advising somebody who comes to you who already is in the midst of a cyber incident, whether it's just, what do you think I need to do for this project? Here's what we want to accomplish. We need to think about this as an expert from every angle. Always start with what your expert recommendation is. If you need to back into something else, if they want to accept the risk, if they want to do things a little bit different way, nobody's saying that you can't take that business on and do what they ultimately are asking you to do. But you always need to start with what your expert opinion is. Because if you think about it from a security standpoint, if you only go to them and sell them what you think that they're going to say yes to, or what you think that they're going to be able to afford, and then they get hacked. Yeah. You think the insurance company is going to care if you said, well, I didn't tell them about it because I didn't think that they could afford it? No, they're going to say, why? You should have known better. Why didn't you have this conversation?
You're their expert. What are you doing?
Right. So every decision you make, every conversation you have with your customers needs to begin with your expert opinion. And you can always back from that, but that involves the customer making that conscious decision to do something other than what you recommend. Yep. And I still think you're probably going to have those lines in the sand too, where there's just like, you're not going to go that far, right?
Well, so many of these people are not going to, I want you guys to be also conscious of the fact that most of your clients probably aren't ready for, they're surely not financially ready for this, because they've been doing stuff the same way for as long as they've had technology. Yeah. So it's on you to flip their brain. And some of them are not ready. Some of them, it's going to take some type of a push. That's probably not going to be from you. That push is insurance company legislation, maybe them getting breached, maybe them having a vendor in their supply chain get breached. There's all these different things that are going to maybe push them. And you want to look like the person in the shop that said, we told you. And then they're like, oh crap, you were right. Like, that positioning is so important, guys. And you got to understand that the times, we say this a lot, Ryan mentioned this earlier, times have changed. We have to do things differently. So you have to position this all now with that in mind.
100%. And yeah, it's really just getting in that right frame of mind and looking at that kind of stuff and understanding that stuff. And that's really what's going to help make the difference for you when you're having these conversations. All right, so we're going to get a little bit into this, and now this laptop's acting up and my display just went wonky.
No, I legit think it's something with StreamYard. Ryan just lost his camera. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on today. We'll give it just a second here. A couple things that I'm going to say. If you guys got any comments while we're sitting here, any questions, feel free to throw it in the chat. I think there's something, it's always DNS, right? It's always some DNS or something going on here. But a couple things that I want. I don't even have control of Ryan's damn slides. But I want you to be conscious of all of the things that we're actively talking about here. And one question I want to ask you while we're sitting here, now that we're thinking about this, do you guys think this is the right approach? Do you think QBRs are the right approach? Do you think cybersecurity focused QBRs are the right approach? Why don't you give me something in the chat and let's talk about it really quick while we wait for Ryan to get back here. He's trying to get back here, I can tell. And then if I have to finish this out, I will. But do you think QBRs are the right approach? Do you think cybersecurity focused QBRs are the right approach? And we'll give it a second here while we're going. I know there's a bunch of outages around the internet here in the States today too, because I actually had to come home because my office internet is down and I have Google Fiber. So something's weird today. I don't know what it is. Probably a hack or something. Probably a debate hack, the United States debate hack. Yep. Okay. So Mark just said here, yes, I agree that these are the right approaches. I really like this from Daniel. Needs to strike a balance between cybersecurity and generative developments that might benefit the customer's need. I totally agree with that. And I want to stress again, most MSPs that I talk to, and I'm going to say 90% plus, their idea of a QBR is printing out the tickets for the month and reviewing them and then talking about the server status and the server health and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, clients do not care about that. And even if they do care about that, it does not move the needle towards justifying your spend or seeing the things that you want to be doing. So it's really, really important stuff to think about. I really like this as well from Thabiso, I think it is. Sorry. It is one of the approaches, but cannot limit oneself to one approach. I really agree with those things as well. So Ryan, are you back? Can't hear you at all though. You have no audio. No audio. So guys, I'm going to also give you some advice. Don't bring Ryan O'Hara on to do webinars with you. Okay, got another comment here from David. Ryan, just talk when you're ready. I'm going to keep going on this. Got another comment here from David. We used to run regular calls with clients. The challenge was finding enough to talk about to make the calls worthwhile without being just sales spam. Really, really good point, which is why you want to make it cybersecurity focused, because there's so much stuff to talk about, right? So much relevant content to talk about with breaches and security and all those other things. Another one here from Colm. Yes, but we see QBRs as being the same as cyber-based QBRs anyway. Why draw a distinction? Hey, you call it whatever you want. We're not saying necessarily drawing a distinction, guys. We're saying do the QBR, but make it focused on cyber is what we're saying. Ryan, you back yet? Nope, no audio. How are you breaking? I think you're a tech guy, man. Daniel said, example, many customers are wanting to embrace the hot new topic, AI. So totally agree with this, Daniel. Really, really good point. Make a good chunk of your QBR or your TBR or whatever your business review is directly related to educating on a new topic. You could also make this about the whole staff, right? Maybe make part of your QBR or your TBR or whatever your review period is all about a new topic. Love that. Have no arguments with that at all. Well, this is a shit show. Sorry, guys. We don't normally have too many bugs during our webcast. Ryan, he's sitting here in the lobby. I'm watching him. Nope. This is terrible. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Frustrating. Okay, so I am going to bounce, but let me just get my slides backwards here to where we're on Ryan's slides. And then I can kind of cover this. I'll go through this on my own without him. Ross just put this in here. I'm with you, buddy. Sorry, man. It's technology glitches sometimes. Yeah, I appreciate it, buddy. I'm sorry. It's just live shit. It is what it is. I did hear a beep of some sort.
Okay,
oh, you got audio now. There you go.
All right. I had to kill my entire browser at that point. I don't know what's going on.
It definitely feels like user error to me. So
it may be a little bit of that, a little bit of StreamYard. I don't know. Who knows what's going on?
So you get loaded up. I'm going
to
address the next question from Justin here as well.
Okay.
Some people are already getting buzzword fatigue over AI. Don't disagree with this. That doesn't mean that it's not relevant, though. You don't have to call it AI. You can call it whatever the hell you want. But I just will tell you that it's really important to continually talk about these things and just educate, make it relevant. Totally agree with you, Justin. Have no argument over that.
All right.
Good to go. I'm going to add you back to the stage. Okay.
All right.
Folks, he's back.
We'll see for how long.
What kind of shit laptop you got? I don't even know what this, what is going on?
I'm on my second laptop just for this one StreamYard, so I don't know what's going on.
Jeez. Must be Detroit.
So decision makers, it's really, really important to make sure the decision makers in the room. This is another thing with QBRs that tends to happen a lot. It's real easy for business owners to dismiss as much as sometimes we as MSP owners like to avoid these. Business owners like to avoid them as well because again, they're always just assuming that you're going to be asking for something or trying to, it's going to cost them more, so they need to be in there. But the thing is, like even if the person who is in the room had the authority to make your typical IT decision, this is something that is typically going to be above those delegated decision makers' authority. Okay, we're going to talk about things involving risk that even the business owner has probably never spoken with their IT provider. That person who is delegated is definitely not going to be able to make that decision. And so it's something that's really, really important to set that table early and set that tone. You may not be able to guarantee that you get them in there. You may end up having to get that person who is delegated for decisions, delegated to have that conversation moving forward and at least understanding and being in your corner. Like, wow, I didn't realize that we even have this much risk. I've never thought of things that way. And then get that decision maker in there for a follow-up meeting. But as much as you can, you want to try and get that decision maker in the room and have that conversation with them, because the last thing you want to get is somebody trying to convey what you talk about to the decision maker, not being in there, not having that context, because then it's just going to come down to price at that point. So step one, make sure you get that decision maker in the room. And then what we're going to do is we're going to complete a cybersecurity risk assessment. So this is a big part of this. And again, we're basically using the concept of a QBR as an opportunity to educate our customer on what their risk looks like. So we're going to do some things like dark web scan, vulnerability scan, personal identifiable information and password scans, SaaS analysis, phishing campaigns. Like these are kind of the core pieces of what a basic cybersecurity risk assessment looks like. The way that I look at it, this is the bare minimum. The more information that you can gather, the better. I like to use the analogy of this being a crime scene investigation, right? When we run these tools, these are the things that are going out and gathering the evidence at the crime scene for us. And then we take that information as the MSP owner or as the technical contact at your MSP, whoever's going to be actually performing these. And we do, we look at this as a detective, right? We're analyzing how, instead of how the crime was committed, the most likely way that the crime is going to be committed, how the hackers are going to do this, okay? We're analyzing the results as if we were a cyber criminal ourselves.
Maybe like an analysis of how hackable your client is.
Yeah.
Now, one challenge that I will tell you that you guys are probably going to start thinking about of this is, okay, doesn't that put me in the crosshairs? Doesn't that make me look bad? This is why you have to be educating your clients. Now, keep in mind, we're talking specifically existing clients in this point. This is why you have to be constantly, always educating your clients that times have changed. Things have to be done differently. So one of the things that we recommend you do, like when we bring new prospects, or let me clarify, when we bring new clients into seven-figure MSP, the first thing that we have you guys do, go back to your existing client base. Let's start talking about how times have changed, why things are different. We give you a sales presentation all around that. We have you do a CSRA as part of that, a cybersecurity risk assessment, and then we present to them, educating the whole time. Now, by going back to them on a regular basis with your QBRs, this gives you the opportunity to regularly hammer all of this home. But you have to educate really well. You can't just go in there and talk a bunch of mumbo jumbo like AI this and AI that, or cybersecurity this and cybersecurity that. You have to make sure you speak in language that they understand, and it's very, very business relevant. Things like the hackers are actively going after your money. Here's how relevant this is. And then one other thing I want you to be very conscious of. The other factor that I'm seeing from a lot of MSPs is they aren't delivering a lot of cybersecurity services anyway and don't know how to upsell their clients. So they just like put stuff in place and eat the cost. At some point, the problem you're going to have is you can't upsell them if you keep doing that. And you're kind of screwing yourself. So be very careful.
And you can't sustain a business that way.
Definitely can't sustain a business that way.
All right. So we're looking at the results. We're analyzing them like a cyber criminal. I mean, essentially what we're doing is we're getting prepped to tell them a story, like with the information that we found in this assessment. If we were the hacker, the most likely way we would be hacking them. And what we're trying to get them to understand is how easy it would be in the right set of circumstances to hack them where they're at right now, and really showing them that they're not a specific target like they assume, but that the hackers are doing more of a net phishing attack. They're trying to find any way that they can to find all of this low-hanging fruit. And in 99% of cases, they don't even know who you are until they get into your systems and have access and start looking around. So really, really important to make sure that they understand how easy it is and how susceptible they are right now in their current standpoint to being hacked. So once you've got that information, you're going to start putting your presentation together. And now you're going to get into the presentation. You're going to use stories. This is really, really important. So I think a lot of us have a tendency to get overly technical, to use a lot of statistics. But if you think about it, think about statistics, right? Like if you come in and tell somebody like, hey, 80% of attacks are small businesses, it's real easy to disassociate yourself with that statistic. Oh, well, I don't know anybody else who's been hacked. I haven't talked. I talked to a lot of business owners. None of them have said they've been hacked. So one, I can either say that's a BS statistic. It was completely made up, or at a minimum, I can say, well, 20% isn't that bad. I'm sure I'll fall into that 20% because my people know better than to click on things. Okay. Now, when you tell them a story of a company that you dealt with that has gone through something like this, that has experienced a hack, a story about somebody who's in a similar type of business locally who's been hacked, different things that you can tell them. When you use a story, now they're in a situation where they can put themselves in that scenario and realize and really think about what would happen if that was them as opposed to somebody else. Okay, so we're using those stories. And we are talking about the results of the assessment. So once we get through handling those common objections through stories, okay? And so like some of the common ones that we talk about and really kind of, head off at the pass are the too small to be hacked kind of thing, that this doesn't happen around here. The insurance is going to protect me. My data is in the cloud, right? So we're going to tell a bunch of stories that kind of tackle those objections before they even have a chance to think about them and have them themselves. Okay, so once we get through talking about those common objections and kind of giving them a lay of the land, now we're going to get into what their environment actually looks like. The things that we found in their world that are going to kind of tie back to these stories. And now they know how often this happens and they know what theirs look like, right? So when we do things, we kind of break it out into some categories. We always start off talking about their team, because all of the technology in the world that we can implement, it's almost always the human factor that is the thing that we have to worry the most about. Okay,
social engineering or they're storing passwords, and specifically people storing passwords in their browsers is probably one of the big factors, right? We all see that.
And my favorite analogy along this lines is you could have the most sophisticated, expensive security system in the world on your house, and if you open up the door and somebody's talking smooth and you let them in, security system doesn't do you any good because you just let them in the front door. And that's literally what happens every day when somebody clicks on something and submits their passwords and passes through that MFA token. There's a million and one ways that people can let somebody in the front door. And in a lot of cases, they don't even know that they did something wrong until it's too late. So we always start with the team and educating them and the kind of behaviors that they do. And really highlight that kind of thing. 'Cause a lot of business owners as well kind of think like, well, I'm a smart business owner. I wouldn't do anything like that. They don't think about their employees and their staff. I don't care how good you are at training somebody on something. Just because you train them on something doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen, that they're actually doing the things that that they're supposed to be doing. So we need to have things in place to be able to handle that. All right, and now we're going to get into talking about risks in their network. So here's where we're looking at things like vulnerabilities and whatnot. This is, it gets a little bit technical when we actually reveal this stuff to them. We're going to be doing this, we're going to give them this background, but again, we're going to be using stories. Okay, so when I talked earlier about taking that information and putting it into the ways that they're most likely to get hacked, that's how we're going to present this, right? It's not just giving them a laundry list of what we found, but using a common example, we found some information on the dark web. We look at their 365 tenant, and they were all set up as global admins because it was easier to do it that way, and they don't have MFA enabled, right? So they are literally just waiting for somebody to stumble on that information on the dark web, and they are instantly hacked and in trouble. So putting that into the context of stories, but looking at some of these things from that perspective. And then looking at their data, here's that personal identifiable information. This is another big one where they typically don't know that they have these problems. They don't even think about storing this stuff. And kind of going back to the human factor, right? Oh, well, we process credit cards in the cloud. Okay, that's great. Do you know for certain that Sally from accounting processes them directly in the cloud? Or does she maybe get busy during the day and put them into a Word document and then process them at the end of the night and then forget and leave them on her computer? Okay, this is all stuff that people need to be aware of and understand. And most of them are just living in this blissful ignorance, thinking that things are being done the way that they have envisioned or the way that they've trained their employees. Or they may not even be thinking about it at all, which is just as dangerous. Okay. So now we start getting into the hard costs of what a breach actually looks like. And this is another thing that I think a lot of business owners just don't have any concept of. They're looking at things from the standpoint of the traditional IT support, right? So they think when they get hacked, they're just going to call you out and have you reload their computers for the same price, hourly rate that like you map their printers and connect to their shared data. They don't understand the requirements in a lot of cases of what needs to actually happen and what needs to be done, the excessive costs of that kind of stuff, because let's be honest, incident response and forensics, it's a specialized skill. The people who do that typically have some sort of like government intelligence, NSA type background. Like this is not just the average, hey, I'm a tech and I like pouring through logs kind of stuff. So the customer needs to understand, this isn't something, oh, I got a ransomware incident, I'm just going to reload my computers. It's going to be, a little bit painful for a couple of days, no big deal. Okay. We're talking like I would guess to do proper incident response, you're probably looking at, even for a small company, a minimum of about 50 grand to properly do this. And on top of that, most insurance companies right now are actually requiring that you do this to even entertain the claim. So they need to have an understanding of what their minimum level of costs are going to be just to get out of this in the first place, which can include legal fees. A lot of times they don't think about things like downtime, or they're going to give you an excuse like, well, we'll just do business with pen and paper for a couple of days and we'll be fine. You still have downtime in that scenario because somebody's going to have to take that paper and pencil stuff and put it back into the system later. So it's not even really downtime. It's more like double time. If you're dealing with, a manufacturer, you could have loss of production. If you're dealing with somebody who's got goods that they can't sell, that can spoil, you're looking at loss of inventory. There's a lot of costs that people need to understand and associate with this, but they're
think about having to do your entire books, your bookkeeping, like all that stuff. Yeah. Like it costs a lot, right?
It's painful. Like dealing with business owners and having gone through this, like it's not comfortable, right? Like you think about uncomfortable conversations when you find out somebody that you know has come down with a serious illness, or somebody had a loved one who passed away. Like, it's one of those kind of things. Like, you don't know how to say the right things. There's nothing that you can say to make them feel better about themselves, even though you're trying to help them through this. Like, if you've ever been through one of these, you don't want anybody to have to go through this. So making sure that we're educating them so that they can understand this stuff and make that decision for themselves. So we're going through this. We're doing just kind of to review this a little bit. We're using the stories to tackle those common objections. We're presenting the results. And then we get to what we call the pivot question. Okay, so we've just presented them with this information. We've educated them on what's really going on in their environment. We've told them what their risk really looks like. And we straight up ask them, how do you want to manage your risk? And we wait for an answer. Because this is something that's really, really important. They need to say it out loud. They need to process it. They need to think about it. They need to be able to do that. So we wait for them to do that. And ideally, what we're looking for here is for them to invite us in. And so that is our door to recommend what our offer would be, what our expert recommendations would be to protect them against this stuff, to manage their risk.
Hey, really quick on this. You notice that Ryan's talking about the CSRA as part of the QBR. This is a really important thing, that you walk in the door with this done, because you want to be basically ready to sell on the fly. You have the decision makers in the room for your meeting. You walk in the door with all of the ammo, and then get them to a place where they're saying, just like Ryan's check says there, oh, holy crap. Can you show me? I get it now. Can you show me what that would look like? Or you want to get them. This is called positioning in sales. You want to get them to a point. I almost knocked my drink over. You want to get them to a point in sales where it starts to click in their head. And once they realize that, and they're like, oh crap, I really need to pay more attention to this cybersecurity stuff, or I'm concerned about being socially engineered, or I'm concerned about my staff because they're all stupid. Like, once that stuff starts to get realized, your price point objections go to like here, because it's no longer about the price. It's about, oh crap, I realize that I need to do more. That's a big thing, guys.
And it's different when they're now asking you for your help or your advice, versus like you just going right into explaining what you would do for it and kind of hitting that upsell. Like, it just changes the vibe of the
conversation. Sales skill, all about sales psychology and how well you deliver all of the information.
100%. So when you ask that question, it's really, really important that you shut up and listen. You need to let them respond at that point. And they may just invite you right in. They may have some questions or issues that they bring up along that, but you need to be conscious and let them talk at this point. Let them explain their issues to you, and then you can sell on the pain you solve, right? You're just getting them to say that stuff out loud and move forward with that.
Yeah.
Don't talk tech. This is another big one throughout this entire process. Like, focus on the risk, focus on the stories. But when you, even when you get into talking about what your recommended solution is, they don't know what an EDR is. They don't care what an EDR is. You don't need to get into that. You need to just focus on the things that you're doing to solve their problem, that you're going to protect them. You're setting them up for the various things that we want to achieve, right? We want to achieve that we're setting them up to hopefully be a lot less likely to get attacked. Okay, hackers are lazy. Like, we have even basic protections in place. Most of the time, those net phishing type hacker attacks, they're going to hit that first roadblock and they're going to move on to the next easy target, because they're not going to waste time with you. Okay, so we're reducing that. If they do get in, the tool stack that we recommend, that full stack cybersecurity plan following a cybersecurity framework, is going to significantly reduce the blast radius of that attack, right? So instead of it being an entire location's computers ransomed, maybe it's just one or two, and then the tools that we have and the services and the SOC, isolate it so it stops that spread. Okay. And then probably the most important things are, we're going to be positioned to have them recover very quickly, and we're going to position them to have their cybersecurity insurance claim paid, as opposed to being denied for not doing enough. Okay. Those are the things we need to focus on. They do not care about what tools you're going to use to do this. Don't confuse them. This is one of Chris's favorite sayings. The confused mind says no, and it's 100% accurate. Okay, which is another reason to avoid talking tech, because typically you know about it. It's second nature to you, but it's going to confuse them. Okay, they need to understand. So that takes them through what I always get the question talking about this. What if they're already a full stack cybersecurity client? So again, that doesn't mean that there's not still room for improvement here because things are changing so rapidly. So we're going to go through this a little bit faster. Perform an updated assessment and review. Like, it's really important. Like we talked about educating them and knowing where they're at. You know, so when we're in this situation now going forward, it's still important to have these regular touch points with them. Go over where they're at now. Update them on any, you know, new PII maybe that's added to their system. You need to show them that we're still monitoring these things, that we're keeping track of this stuff, that we're evaluating things and protecting anything new, because in this constantly changing environment. So we're kind of giving them an updated review of that kind of stuff. Show them the results of the service, right? You know, showing them how many login attempts to the 365 environment that we've logged and have monitored and looked at. Like, show the value of the service that you're providing to refresh and reinforce what you're doing. Really important that they understand that. Just as important as it is in the beginning to show them, you know, what you're doing and why you're doing it, you know, they need to know that that's something that's ongoing. It's not something that we just produced a bunch of results and then didn't do anything about. Evaluate and discuss any gaps that may have been discovered or new threat vectors that may need to be considered. Like, again, this is all stuff that's rapidly changing. The cybersecurity world today is very different than it was 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. It's constantly changing, and we're showing them that we're keeping up with those types of things. Listen to any problems, concerns, or objections that they might have or that have come up. It's a really good opportunity to do that temperature check of the relationship so you don't have any surprises coming forward, right? I talk to MSPs all the time. Hey, this client left me out of the blue and I had no idea.
If you didn't know,
yeah,
you're not doing your job, guys. I'm sorry.
That's the problem.
But I mean, you should know about every single temperature level of every single client you have. And if they won't meet with you, it's ice cold, and you better get in there and warm that thing up.
100%. So, and this is your opportunity. So that's again, it's why these things are so important. You know, whether you call it a QBR or a TBR or whatever you want to call it, but having that regular touch point with your clients, because I mean, if you think about it, if we're doing everything right, we probably aren't talking to our clients very often at all. Like, and that was something I always said to my clients, the less you have to call me, the better both of us are doing, because that means I'm doing my job and keeping your networks up and your infrastructure up so you can continue working and doing your job and being productive. And
but think about how different that is from, let's just say 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. Your clients measure how valuable you are based on how much they use you. When in reality now, you need to make sure you're like, look, the less you talk to me, the better. And you know what? What's the ROI on great cybersecurity coverage? You know what it is? I hope 0. I hope you never have to use me for a recovery. But you know what? When we're ready, when it happens, we're ready. Like, that's the mindset you have to start laying in, because they do this every single day in their business already. It's called insurance. You have, and they justify the cost, and it's a budget item that's above the line. It's not a cutting floor item ever.
And they really need to look at this like a utility now, right? Like, you know, they need cybersecurity just like they need electricity, like they need internet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Absolutely. And so a couple other QBR topics that they actually care about. Hardware and project planning, like this is another big one. And not that they like spending money or that they care about a bunch of new computers. It's really the planning is the key word there, right? If you can be forecasting out and letting them know when they need to budget for things, like just something as simple as being able to show them, hey, in 2 years, you've got all of these computers that are coming up that are going to need to be refreshed, right? And making sure that they have that information so that they can budget for it. Because the last thing a business owner wants to do is get into a situation where you come up to and say, hey, you got a bunch of these computers that are 5 years old. We're going to have to start replacing them today. They didn't budget for that yet. So if you can give them that project planning and that forecasting, really, really helpful for business owners. Okay. Again, we're focusing on money here. Like, that's a big thing that they care about. They don't care about what model you're going to use or how much RAM it's going to have. They just want to know when it needs to be replaced so that they can plan for it. And then it's a no-brainer for them when it actually comes up. So that's helping them with their forecasting and their budget. They should know a year or more in advance of recommended hardware refreshes. It allows them to plan. Same thing with servers, right? Like if that server's coming up, what's the game plan? Are we going to replace that server? Are we going to move to the cloud? Like having that forethought, that forecasting is really going to help them make decisions. And that's what we need to do. We're positioning ourselves not as that IT provider, that person who just comes when they call, but the valued and trusted partner that's helping them and is just as concerned about helping them grow their business as they are. Okay, that helps make project revenue more predictable and less hassle to get approved, right? So that's another thing. If you give them that much heads up on what they need to do and when they need to do it, you're not going to have that 3-month cycle where you have to keep going back to them and talking them into it and trying to get that approval. Okay. Some general topics, talking to them about what are their goals. What are you at? Are you asking them questions? Are you having this relationship with them again as their partner, right? What are they looking to do in the next month, in the next quarter, in the next year, in the next 3 years, 5 years? How can you help them achieve those goals? Okay. When they view you as that trusted partner that's interested in them, that's going to help. On a side note, Windows 10 end of life is October of next year. I didn't realize I'm so out of touch with that stuff now. I don't know the end of life things are coming up. But yeah, that's going to be another big one.
I have literally no clue anymore. It's kind of fun. It's like, I don't even know. I'm getting to the point where I can't turn laptops on. No.
You've successfully gotten out of the tech. But you want to focus on being their partner. It's really, really important. And it changes the relationship that they have with you. I talked at the beginning about how you need to change your mindset and look at yourself as the expert and let that dictate the conversations you're having. When you can do that and you flip that relationship with your customers on that end, the conversations you have with them are going to be night and day difference. And it's really going to help not just propel your business because of those relationships, but it's going to help propel your customers. And that's going to make them really, really loyal to you going forward. Okay. It's going to make things like economic uncertainty that a lot of people are talking about right now. It's not even going to be a concern for those ones that really see you as a partner because you're that trusted partner. You're helping them grow their business and make their money. You're going to be the last cost that they're looking to cut at that point. Okay. So just kind of to sum up what we talked about, the biggest thing, be the expert. I think if you can get this into your head, this changes the way that you have every conversation that you have. It changes every decision that you make. For some reason, it's really difficult for MSPs to embrace this and understand this. You don't have to have all of the cybersecurity certifications in the world to be an expert in this field. More of an expert than what your customers are, for sure. And realistically, I still don't think you need to have it to be an expert. What we are seeing really is that MSPs are really becoming kind of the general contractors of this space. And so long as you know how all of the pieces go together and what pieces that you need, what frameworks you're following, what managed security services that you have and are putting together, like you're very much the general contractor who's bringing in all of the individual experts and specialists. You're the general practitioner that is sending somebody to, the brain specialist or the cancer specialist because you know who needs to see you.
Now that does not mean, I just want to make sure we're clear on this because we definitely have people that come back to us. They're like, so you're telling us not to have any certifications. No. Partner with companies. And this is a really unique time in the MSP space because I will say 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, we had to kind of be all knowing. Now you have so many vendors in this space that you can partner with to where you could say, boom, 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 boom. And they are handling all of this and they have the full certifications and they have all of the qualifications. And you just have to be the empowering contractor that enables that relationship. So when Ryan brings up the general contractor side, think about that in commercial construction or local building construction. In fact, I was just in Kansas with a good friend of mine, Jason, and he's got a builder partner that he kind of knows. It's a guy that was, I was at Jason's member guest tournament for a country club. And this guy's name's Greg. He owns a construction company. But in reality, they're like, does Greg do this? He's like, no, he outsourced the bricks. He outsourced all the AV. He outsourced all the pool maintenance. He did all this stuff. And all he was a coordinator. But the company hired him to be the guy. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same concept. So you don't have to be a master of all these trades anymore, but you should be a master at coordination and then being the expert at putting all the pieces together and giving them the strategy. That's the thing. It's managed services strategy now.
And you're still owning the relationship in that case. I mean, it's the same thing with the incident responses that I did. You know, I worked with a third-party incident response expert company, but I was the one that was handling the communication with the customer. I was the one that was, for lack of a better term, holding their hand through this really painful process. And they were looking to me for that comfort, if you will, that we were going to take care of things and get things handled. So, all right. And then focus on your relationship as their partner, like really, really key, making sure that they see you that way, not as a service provider, and make sure that they understand their risk. Really, really important. They need to know this. It's all about that education. It all comes back to making sure that they have the information to make the best decisions for their business. And that just further solidifies you as the expert and you as the partner. And probably one of the biggest ones here too, shut up and listen. We talk too much. You know, and a lot of these, you know, whether it's a sales presentation, whether it's a QBR, you know, we tend to talk too much. And because of that tech background that so many of us have, a lot of the stuff that we tend to talk too much about is stuff that they don't care about. Let them tell you what their pain points are. Let them be the ones who are giving you this information so we can solve that pain. Don't talk about your EDR. Let them talk about the issues that they're experiencing, how we can help them be better. And so with that, I've got a little deliverable here for you. I've got the downloadable guide for the Ultimate QBR Planning Guide, a little QR code here for you to be able to download that. We'll leave that up here for a second. And then we got Q&A time left right after this as well. If you want to, I don't know if you want to leave this up for a minute and then
yeah, we'll leave that up. So we'll just kind of say, guys, out of the box here. Ryan's got his Ultimate QBR Planning Guide. We're open to take calls on this. We're open to take questions on this. We're going to give you a booking link to talk to our sales team in a little bit. I'm going to talk about our elite program. But if you guys have any questions, I don't care what it is related to QBRs, TBRs, cybersecurity stacks, like literally you got Ryan and Chris here for as long as you want. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Is there a URL for that thing too, Ryan, or is it just the?
It is, but it's probably too complicated to type up. Okay. But the QR code goes to the URL. I did not get an easy one for that.
Yeah.
We could probably build one and email it out to folks.
Just make sure that it works here. Okay. This is a direct link to OneDrive, which I'm not a big fan of, so you know that. Ryan's getting his hand slapped. That should go. Let me just make. Oh yeah, that's okay. So that worked.
I did test it.
So that's good. Yeah. Did you test it with a outside of the?
Yes. Yep. I used my iPad.
Okay. So Taviso said QR code is good. Anybody that's watching this on replay, make sure you pause this, scan the QR code. That definitely works. It's very, very solid and it works really, really well. So Taviso, ask questions, man. Sorry if I'm massacring your name. I'm not the best lingual expert. But ask away, guys. We'd love to hear your questions. I don't care what they are. Type away. Somebody just put the link into the chat. So there's that. I think that's what that is. But if you guys got questions, ask away. Ryan, anything else you want to cover that you think that we missed? Anything that came up during that process?
No, I mean, I just think the important thing to take away from this is that the CSRA is the key. Like educating them on the risk is the key. QBR is just the delivery method that we're talking about for the purposes of this conversation. It's a real nice way to both have that touch point with your clients, continue to show them that you care, but using it as an opportunity to make sure that you're educating them on the things that they probably don't even know enough to ask you about. So we have to bring that forward to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. A couple sales things I want to make sure you guys understand. First of all, email is where deals go to die. I'm going to say that again. Email is where deals go to die. So don't get in an email battle. Try and pick up the phone as much as you can. Meet with these people in person. The more you can do this over a meal or drinks, the better off you're going to be. What we used to do is we would cater in lunch for the whole executive team, and we'd make it a 2-hour affair. You're also welcome to bring in lunch, depending on the size of the staff, obviously, and budgetarily wise and the size of the company. But we would, during QBR time or TBR time, we would bring in lunch for their team. I learned that because my very first client that I ever had as an MSP was an orthopedic clinic. And I watched the pharmaceutical sales reps bring in lunch for the whole office staff. And what did the doctors do? I'm like, how do these people get to meet with the doctors all the time? Well, they're breading lunch for the staff. And that was basically bribing their way into the doctor's calendar is pretty much what they did. So bring in lunch, break bread, take them to dinner, get your decision made. You want to have a relationship with them. That's really, really key. Really, really key parts, guys.
And there's just something about providing them food too that they feel compelled psychologically to reciprocate, and it's a lot easier to get that yes because they want to say yes to something when you just gave them food.
Yep, totally 100% agree with that. So I don't think we have any questions, Ryan. Either you're so phenomenally good or you're so phenomenally bad. They're just like, F that guy. We don't care.
I mean, it could be either at this point. Who knows?
But a couple of people have put the QR code here. We're sitting here on the StreamYard local webinar chat. And we got a question that just came in from Fabiso too. But so people are putting stuff in the chat. So you guys that are watching, and we are streaming and recording across multiple platforms, please pause this. Use the QR code on your desktop if you can. There's multiple ways you can do it. It also does work from a phone, but a couple people said it wasn't working for them on their phone. I don't know. It's just Teams and SharePoint crap. So, okay. So here's a question.
This is a good one.
So this is a long one. We covered the upselling to existing clients pretty well. I'm confident with this. I'm not sure if we covered selling to new clients. And this is where my questions come from. One, I've seen so many leaks in companies that are in my vicinity to offer cybersecurity post-running risk assessments. Kind of seems like some form of extortion. How do we tackle that? How do we present within the law? So, Thabiso, I want you to tell me what locale you're in, first of all. But I'm going to comment on this a little bit. First of all, your sales process for new prospects should be around teaching them why they need a cybersecurity risk assessment. Okay, this really, what we're talking about with QBRs here, we have a whole separate webinar for that. And a whole separate sales process for that. But your scenario should not be, and the big challenge here is how MSPs used to do this versus how they should be doing it now. MSPs used to walk in the door, basically, and I'm guilty. In fact, I have the good old orange jump drive, if you guys recognize that guy, right? So I still have that sitting here. I don't even know where I found that, but I still have it. They used to walk in the door, count up how many stations, maybe plug in your orange jump drive and scan the network. And it was basically an inventory. And they'd come back in and they'd say, okay, here's what we got. Here's what we're going to support. Here's what the cost is. There's also multiple other people that still tell you quote that way. Here's why you don't want to quote that way. And here's why you want to do it this way. Number one, it becomes all about the price point and the widget. That's it. So this is where the small, medium, large, they'll race to zero. The cheapest in the city comes into play. You want to be in a place where you're like, here's why you need to think about cybersecurity first, and you educate them like crazy. So it's basically the same process that Ryan's talking about, but instead of walking in the door trying to do that in one quick shot, we're walking in the door and we're saying, here's what you need to do with an FTA, a first-time appointment. Here's why you need to think about a cybersecurity risk assessment. Why don't I come in next week and I'll educate you as to why? Or here's the things you need to be thinking about. And then you educate them as to why. Multiple meetings, multiple steps. The bigger the client, the more meetings. I'm going to tell you this. And also, you got to have the decision makers in the room. You got all of them. Not presenting to an office manager or even a front desk person because they don't want to make time to meet with the manager. You have to embrace your no, and you got to have the right people in the room, or you're just wasting your time. Honestly, that's probably one of the biggest things that MSPs have done historically is they allow their process to get degraded because they're afraid of rejection, or they're afraid of talking to the right people, or they just they're desperate. Honestly, all those are real things. So the bottom line is, and we have a whole sales process around this. In fact, we can send you and he's in South Africa. We have multiple people in South Africa using our program, by the way, and they're doing really, really well. Even have some guys in more North Africa than South Africa using this in very successful ways. But you want to be teaching them why this is critical and kind of bringing them around that path to where they're like, oh crap, I really need this. And then they're like, okay. And then another factor that we're doing is we're not doing the CSRAs for free. For existing clients, we are doing them for free. Here's why. For existing clients, what do they think you're doing anyway? They think that you're doing all this anyway, right? They think that you're doing cybersecurity. They think you're doing everything. They think they're in the cloud. They're protected. They got an MSP. They got an IT person. They got an IT guy, whatever. They think you're doing this all for free anyway. So we do a CSRA as a way to basically show them what they should be doing. And also drawing a line in the sand of where we stand. Times have changed. We have to do things differently. We're not doing enough. We need to be doing more. We acknowledge that. Here's why you need to do more. So my suggestion for your brand new prospect, teach them why they need a CSRA. Teach them that they need to do things differently, even with who they got. They might have an IT guy. And we use a lot of strategies from the Wedge series from Randy Schwantz and a lot of these different scenarios to show them what they should be doing. Then we get them in a place where like, okay, this is this much. And our recommendation for a charge, now you're South Africa, so it's a little bit different pricing, but think about, I think that's Rand down there, if I remember right. I think you guys are on Rand in South Africa, but 1,500 Rand or whatever your price is, that's equivalent. So $1,500 here in the States is our get out of bed number for a baseline cybersecurity risk assessment. One user up to 10 users is $1,500, and then $100 a user from there up is our baseline for how we calculate it. Now, there's more than one way to do that. We could talk about that later, but there's a lot of stuff that's really, really good and conscious to think about with this. Anything you want to add on there, Ryan?
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to touch on, so you mentioned it feels like some sort of extortion. We've heard from people too that it feels like fear-based selling. And my argument is it's actually the opposite. To me, the fact that we know that they're making assumptions about some of this stuff and that they think that they're not impacted by this, they think that they're safe or it's not something that they need to worry about, to me is way more dangerous than showing them this stuff. Yes, is it scary at the end of the day that this stuff is going on and that they could be impacted by this? Absolutely. But to me, it's way more scary to just be sitting out there and not think that you're impacted, right? Like I've worked with enough people who have gone through an incident and seen their reaction. And I talk about how traumatic that is for people. Being able to help people and educate them and let them make that decision for themselves ahead of time, I think is really, really powerful. And it's not fear-based selling. Just because something's scary doesn't make it fear-based selling. It's fear-based, well, not fear-based, but it's educating them on something that they don't even know to be afraid of right now. And they need to in order to make good decisions.
Yep, I agree with that. One thing I want to comment on this. So Daniel said, I think he was responding to my comment that I said that your existing clients, we should be doing this for no charge. Okay. So there's a big difference here. And I want to be very, very conscious of this. First of all, your existing clients, more than likely, if you walked up to them and say, hey, we're going to do a cybersecurity risk assessment and we're going to charge you $1,500, they're going to be like, pardon me, what? What did you just say? Aren't you my IT company already? Why am I paying you to do virus protection? They don't get it, guys. It don't click. Okay. Now, Daniel may have been talking about something else, but I just want to be very clear on this. So we do the cybersecurity risk assessment without asking them. Their existing clients already. We walk in the door to the QBR and we say, hey, and hey, you don't even have to call it a QBR. You want to call it specifically a cybersecurity discussion, cybersecurity incident planning. How about that one? Cybersecurity incident planning meeting. We want to sit down and plan a meeting with you for being ready for your next cybersecurity incident. Okay. So it's stuff that you just want to be conscious of, and it's all about positioning, and we want to make sure that they understand. And then we just go through the entire steps of the whole QBR anyway. So now brand new prospects, 100%, you should be paid for your time. And I think that's what Daniel was now saying there. Thank you for clarifying that. Oh, that was in response to new leads. 100% agree with that. Most MSPs are going to come back to that, Daniel, and say, oh, well, I can't get new leads if I don't give them something for free. Fine line. It doesn't have to be $1,500. It could be $500, but your time should be worth something, but it's all about how you position this, and it's all about how you show it. Okay. It's really, really, really important that you do that. Really important how you do that. I don't give a shit how great you are at being a tech. You're hearing Chris unfiltered stuff right now. I don't care how good you are at being a tech. I care how good you are at presenting this and having conversations with them. This stuff matters. And the big difference that we see in our clients has nothing to do with how great they are at being a service delivery company. Has how well they are, how good they are at being a sales and lead generation service delivery firm is really what it boils down to. And being a great MSP is just part of the course now, just part of the deal. You better be a great MSP. Okay. So good stuff to think about. So another question from Justin. Ryan, you have no camera, just so you know that.
Yeah, my stuff freaked out again.
It's definitely, some of you guys got to be a good MSP that can please help Ryan O'Hara.
I'm starting to think it might be my docking station that's causing the problem.
I'm thinking it's purely user error. You guys know that ID 10T error?
Mm-hmm.
Write that down if you don't know that. That's a secret. It's the ID 10T.
I've been just out of MSP land just long enough now that I'm the problem.
Okay, so here's from Justin. Do you have any recommendations for cyber insurance vendors that work with MSPs or we could refer to? A lot of our smaller clients still haven't put any thought into cyber insurance, and it seems like a good way to get them to take blah, blah, blah. Okay, so first of all, there's two different factors here. There is cyber insurance vendors that work with MSPs. Our guys, they're going to be insuring you for the most part. We have a couple of different partners. One is Willow Risk Management, also known to MSP as InSkyber. It's INSKYBER. That's owned by Tom Wiersbowski and Art Gross. Art Gross is one of the founders of Breach Secure Now. Great guys, good stuff. They are at our shows. They're going to be at our Q3 show in Denver. So please come there with them. And then there's also a company called TechRug, TECHRUG. What is that? Insurance is also out there. CY Insurance out there as well. That's what I was just thinking about. Kirsten, what is her last name? I forget, the CEO founder. She's great too. Just brain fart. I'm getting old, guys.
I can picture her. I can't think of her last name either.
Yes, damn, that's gonna drive me nuts. But that's who should be insuring you. That's what I'll say. Now, most of your clients are going to they're already being sold this, guys. I'm going to tell you this. So you're probably, if you have not had this conversation, Justin, with your clients, you're probably a little behind the curve, because I'm going to tell you, I use Chubb. Like, we are not an MSP. My Chubb rep, and Chubb is CHUBB. My Chubb rep called me and said, hey, what's your cybersecurity coverage look like? He actively called me knowing I am an 8-figure business, pitching me cybersecurity coverage. They gave me a full form and an application to fill out. They didn't ask me anything about my MSP. Most of your clients are already getting this. I know for a fact, Nationwide has this. Chubb has this. There's all kinds of different, Prudential has this. All these business firms are already doing this. So my suggestion to you, find a local, actually, I would go to every business insurance agency in your local region, and I'd take them to lunch, build a relationship, partner with them. That's a totally different angle, and that's where you should go. As opposed to trying to be the guy that refers your clients into an insurance firm. No, it's not going to work. It's fine. It's great. I love the idea. There are definitely ways to make it work, but your best bet, because think about what those other guys can do. You partner with 3 or 4 or 5 different local business insurance firms and become their go-to cybersecurity insurance partner. Now we put on webinars with them. We put on live events with them. We buddy. We take people to lunch together. And now we got a business relationship that's symbiotic. That's what you want. Let them sell for you. Let them refer you. I mean, there's no referral like a referral from an insurance guy about, you need cybersecurity coverage. Here's my dedicated guy. That's what you want.
think about it. The risk assessment does just as much for them selling their insurance product as it does for you selling your recommendations for your managed services. So your value to them is educational and teaching them some of the things. So
yeah, Thabiso said, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. But he said this, same mindset, brother. I love it. And he said, asked and answered, you can ignore. So great questions. I love that. And I think I would just be very mindful. So all you guys are on with us. And we got a ton of people on with us today. Love it that you guys are here giving us your time. I know we're coming up, but we're an hour and a half now, but we got all Ryan's problems. So we got to deal with that. But you guys got to start thinking like business owners and marketers and salespeople. Ryan, I think you really see the difference being here and how I think now. Like I am very much, I consider myself a serious sales and marketing guru now in my own world. Like I don't care about what the other outside world thinks about me, but internally here, all I work on every single day is sales, marketing strategy, and knowing my numbers. Like that's what I care about in my business. So
and you've embraced your role as the expert in those things
internally, right? Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it's great. Sometimes it sucks, but we're always improving and it's our main focus. So, okay, I'm going to keep moving on. If you guys got any other questions, we can come around at the end and answer them. Got a couple things that I'm going to go over, namely our 7-figure MSP inner circle coaching program. Every webinar, you got to deal with Chris on this. So using our 7-figure MSP inner circle program, our coaching clients, our goal with them is to double their MRR in 12 months or less. And I'm going to give you a couple examples on this. We got a gentleman named Mark Enzorn. Mindful guys, we've had hundreds of MSPs in our program doing this, doubling their current MRR, doing all these different pieces. Mark is a great example because he started our elite program October 2021. Now he was decent size. So he was 100K MRR when he started, based in Tucson, Arizona. But in the first 60 days, I don't have that right slide in there, but in the first 60 days, he added 60K of MRR. And then over the course, and Mark is well over, actually, I got to update this slide because he is at 200K now. He's just over 200K in MRR, but he had an $80,000 increase. Then we have another gentleman. Now Mark, granted, started with 100K MRR. Good start, great start, phenomenal business, was definitely growing. But let's take another gentleman. Brett is from Miramichi, New Brunswick, Canada. If you guys Google where Miramichi is, it's very far upper northeast in New Brunswick in Canada. So 18,000 person town, really small town. Started our elite program June of 2021 with $22,000 of MRR. He had 600 endpoints, guys. I'm going to throw you a little bit of calculator math here. This is Chris and his calci. He had $22,000 divided by 600. That was his per endpoint cost that he was charging internally. That's what he was making, guys. Over the course, using our system, Brett is still in the program. So what? Coming up on just hit his 3-year anniversary in the program, actually. Still in the program, actively growing, currently at 105,000 MRR. The best part about this is he is at 400 endpoints, guys. So now let's take 105,000 MRR divided by 400. So he actively chose to trim some fat. Now he's here per endpoint. This has completely changed Brett's life and completely changed. And you guys are welcome to look him up. He speaks on our stages. He's going to be at our Q3 event. He's actively there. Just spoke at our Ottawa event a couple weeks ago in Ottawa, in Ontario. Flew over from New Brunswick. I don't even know how you get to the airport from Miramichi, but
he's got like a minimum of 3 hops to get anywhere.
Yeah. But bottom line, in a 18,000 person town is doing 105K MRR in Canada. So I don't care where you sit, whether it's South Africa, wherever you are. If Brett can do this in his town, you can do this also. I promise you guys that. It's here and execution. Now, granted, he's been in the program 3 years and he's still working on it. Takes time, takes execution, it takes a very big commitment to discipline and dedication. If you want to be in the best business shape of your life, it's going to take some time to work out. It's really important. So I want to talk to you real quick about our 7-figure MSP Inner Circle Elite program. This is a full sales and marketing coaching program to take you to double your MRR and beyond. We call this our double your MRR sales system. It's a complete sales system. You start out. In fact, your very first onboarding call is with me and Mr. Ryan O'Hara in fact, we do these every single Monday. We have 4th of July week here in the States. So we kind of did a Q&A, ask Chris and Ryan anything call this morning. But this call is every single week live with me and Ryan. We go through all these different things, walk through it, and we dedicate that. We do it every single week. So Monday, Chris and Ryan. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have our live calls with Cindy Phillips. Cindy Phillips is our certified sales trainer here at 7-Figure MSP, and she is our VP of sales training. Kills it, absolute legend in the industry. And man, I don't know how many people absolutely adore Cindy. They like Cindy more than they like me. So that's pretty key.
She's definitely a fan favorite.
Definitely a fan favorite. On top of the sales training, we also have our 7-Figure MSP marketing machine with our VP of marketing coaching, Lindsay Badillo. She has her complete marketing onboarding process live every single month. And then also both of these programs get sales open office hours 3 days a week, marketing open office hours 3 days a week. Now, Lindsay only does this on 1 month cadence because marketing is a hell of a lot more complex than sales. It's also key, and one thing I want you to be mindful of, we start with sales first, specifically because we want you to learn how to sell before we give you brand new leads. Really, really conscious. Lindsay and Cindy also have higher level training programs called Trailblazers that are geared towards getting them basically accountability focused pieces from business mastery and leads mastery. So those are 2 add-on programs that you can ask about as you mature and as you grow as well. But both sales coaching and marketing coaching all included with the program. We also have our proposal presentation and agreement templates. So you get our full cybersecurity PowerPoint included, our full cybersecurity Word doc for proposals included, our full risk acceptance letter template included. This is key because as you go back to your existing clients, this is specifically geared towards your existing clients. When you go back and do your QBRs with them and you present, just like Ryan talked about, and they're like, we kind of want to stay where we're at. Okay, keep in mind, I'm never going to tell you, none of our team is ever going to tell you to walk away from MRR. Never going to tell you to walk away from cash. Never going to tell you to walk away even from break fix deals. But we are going to tell you to protect your liability. So as you walk back to them and say, here's this, here's this, here's this, and they're like, no, we don't have budget for that. We're good, which is probably going to happen because our guys close about 60% of deals, which means 40% are still hanging out there. Note it took Brett 3 years to convert all of his clients, right? Yeah, I think he's still all there. This is where this risk acceptance letter template comes into play. And you go back and you talk with them and you're like, okay, that's fine. You can stay where you're at. But when you have a breach, here's what our incident response plan looks like. Here's what is going to happen. And here's who's responsible. And here's who's going to pay the bill. Meaning you, Mr. Client, not me. I'm not going to get hung out to dry because you didn't want to spend more money. Think about how many clients you have that are in that scenario, right? Very important stuff to be mindful of. We also include our full master service agreement template and statement of work templates included in the program. Our full cybersecurity incident response plan template included in the program. Also, discounted access to our MSP contract kit. And we've recently added Miss Paige Taylor on board as well. We're like six months into Paige now.
Yeah,
so
those calls are really, really popular too.
But every single week, Paige has a legal advice call because she is our in-house general counsel. So every single week, in fact, today, 2 p.m. Central Time, lawyer call included with the program. So active stuff to work on. You also get process, structure, and tools. Our full risk assessment system included. Our full hiring machine included. Our full CRM included. 100+ marketing campaigns, 400 clean leads with our clean leads platform, and our professionally written 52-week nurture email sequence, all included in the program. See, these are things you do not have to add. You just got to execute, guys. That's what matters. Okay, Chris, so what's the next step? You guys saw all the stuff that's included. We got all this stack of stuff that's included, over $18,000 and growing because we got announcements coming up this week. Yep. We just announced our FlexPoint deal this past week for deals on ACH and all these different things. We got all kinds of new stuff being added this week. We got a brand new deal with a really big partner coming this week as well. A lot of cool stuff included. My special offer for you guys today, if you book your call, you can, couple things. You can DM me. If you want to find me on social, I'm active. I had somebody DMing me during this call on Facebook Messenger. DM me. I'll hook you up and I'll talk with you. I'll give you this deal. If you book a call from our strategy session link that we're going to give you in a minute, I'll honor this deal. Or if you talk to Ryan or any of our people, just tell them that you saw Chris on the webinar and he talked about this. We have our special deals, $2,000 per month. But if you book your call or DM me right now, we have a fast action bonus of $250 off per month. So it's a $1,750 per month, 12-month commit for all the stuff you saw in the program. So look at what your MRR is. What if you could double your MRR in the next 12 months just by being in a $1,700 a month coaching program? We give you all the stuff. And one thing I'll tell you, could you do all this on your own? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is hyper special, unique secret sauce. This is accountability. It's management. It's discipline control, and it's acceleration. You are going to be on onboarding with us on Monday, and you'll be working on deals within 3 to 5 days, closing deals within 2 to 3 weeks. So in your first 30 days, you should be closing active deals with existing clients, and we push you along the way. So if you're ready, if you're like, man, I've just been waiting for the perfect time to do something like this, this is your ticket. Okay. So here's your next couple steps. First of all, here's how you book your strategy call. Now you can find me on social, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all those. I look at my inbox. DM me. I'll talk with you. You can also do that to Ryan. Ryan doesn't respond for shit, though. I'll tell you that. He can't even get a laptop going.
Because my computer's not working.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. That's literally going to be the excuse from here on out, probably.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to soak that one up.
But it's really important. So you can hit your QR code here if you guys want. Ryan's got the dropping the links in the chat here for everybody on social. But you can also go to that URL, 7figuremsp.com/strategy call. You can do all those as well. Ryan, drop that in the chat. You're welcome to DM me.
Already did.
A couple other things I'm going to drop for you guys here really quick, namely my guarantees. But Chris, I don't know if this program is going to work. I'm nervous to commit. I think this is a scam. Ryan's really ugly. That's true. He's losing weight, though. I'm really proud of you, man. We've been working on a fitness thing here at 7Figure corporate-wise. Ryan, what are you down today?
18 pounds.
In how long? Like 30 days?
Like 40 days or so.
Like 40 days. That's a great job, dude. Because I am down in the last year, I'm down about 50. So I'm down pretty substantial. In fact, somebody messaged me the other day and said, you need to get new Skinny Chris headshots.
We just did the headshots that were in that the promo like a couple of slides ago, like the beginning of this year. I was noticing that. I was like, I need new headshots again.
Yeah, it's a real thing. So bottom line, is there a guarantee? I do actually have 2 guarantees. So I believe massively in this program. We have changed so many lives. I love what we do. I have a full money back guarantee, a 90-day money back guarantee. Here's a couple factors. Number one, I will tell you this, and I'll be very clear. If you think you are going to sign up for the program, do nothing, and charge back your card and walk away, it's not going to happen. I win every case because we have a great agreement. I have on staff, attorney, all these other things. But all you got to do is show up and do the work, because the bottom line, this guarantee has never been paid out. Now, have I had people not succeed? 100%. But every single time we talk to them, and I'm like, why didn't you come to the calls? I'm busy. I'm working on tickets. I'm talking to clients. Okay. All you're doing is perpetuating the cycle. Get in the program. You subscribe for a reason, use it, participate in it, win. Like, that's what we want. Like, it does me no good to have you come in here and flame out in 60 days. I don't want that. I want you to come in the program, work. And if you come in the program and work, and bottom line, if you get to 90 days and you're like, hey, I'll see no ROI, it's not worth it, won't work in your market. Again, O'Hara's won't respond to my shit. I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. This has never been requested, guys. Never. In 5 years, this has never been requested. 5+ years, this has never been requested. Because if you come in here and do the work, magically, the program works. It's unbelievable. It's not some magic fairy dust I sprinkle on your business. In fact, it works so well, I had to add a second guarantee. If you participate in the work, again, seems to be a recurring theme. You do the work, participate in the CSRAs, do the stuff in the first 90 days. And we have a very involved onboarding process that holds you accountable and makes you do stuff. It's kind of like having a personal trainer for your business. It's really the concept. But if you don't make at least your initial investment in additional MRR, I'll write you a check for that amount. Again, Ryan's this ever been requested?
Nope.
Not once, because there's a recurring theme. If you come in here and do the work, the program works too. It's crazy how that works, right? It's crazy. Okay, so there's how you can sign up. You can get your bonuses. We got one more thing for you guys before we do that, and then we're going to get to some prizes. Here's where you can get that CSRA guide that I talked about earlier. Ryan, if you want to drop that in the chat for me as well.
Yes.
Got some prizes coming up here, and I'm going to start my 2-spot timer, or my 2-minute. I don't know what 2-spot means. My 2-minute timer. I'm rare form today, brother. Okay.
You've been like that all day today.
I know. It's Monday. So here's my 2-minute timer. So here's what we're going to do. In order to get our prizes, what's one thing that you learned from Ryan, besides how the hell to work a laptop?
Well, they didn't learn that clearly.
That you can put into play in your business right now. What's some advice that you took from today's call that you can use? And we're going to pick one person for the $100 gift card, one person for the $250 gift card. The only caveat to this, if you're a bot, you're not going to get it because you're going to have to submit an email from your actual MSP that we're going to verify. Okay, so Harry said, got to show the value of the service I'm providing. I like that. That's solid. Keep going, guys. I need more. We're down to 1 minute left. I might have to add another minute on there. I thought it was too much. Yeah.
We taught them so much. They got to choose something.
Miriam, I like this one. The confused mind always says no. I like that as well. David says, get the right people in the room and sell when you're there. Not know your stack and fit it to the client. Really well done. That's like 2, brother. I like it. Nick said 5 elements of the risk assessment. Christian said, be the expert in putting things together and have a strategy. I like that. Ross said, if you give it away for free, they will always want it for free. Well done. I like that. Let's see. Alan said how to better structure TBRs and be prepared. I like that you said TBR because I don't like this QBR shit. I don't like that. Sammy, email is where deals go to die. Love that, man. Do not get into a battle with a keyboard warrior or a telephone tough guy. Not going to win. You will lose every time. Because usually, here's the deal. They're usually narcissists. Think about that. Who wins against a narcissist? Nobody. Even the narcissist, they lose, right? Oh, somebody said you did a good job. That's probably not right, though.
It's got to be a misprint.
I'm going to give us 1 more minute here. Okay, here we go. There's 1 more minute. Harry said again, make sure clients see me as a partner, not a service provider. Jacob said I should be a strategist instead of a service provider. Really good. I like that one as well. Miriam said be friendly and potential clients to build rapport. That's not Rappert, by the way. Somebody said Rappert to me the other day. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And they spelled it. And I'm like, that's rapport. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, I'm French. Bonjour. I'm not really French. But Christian said the more a client calls me for issues on their end, the more I'm not doing my work. Pretty good. Frank said, make sure to explain the risk to a customer regardless of the cost. This is one out. So we got 19 seconds. Oh, Ryan, I have a MacBook for you. Ryan's on a MacBook. It probably blew up. I am a combo Windows Mac guy, just so you guys know that. iPhones everywhere, iPads everywhere. But Tabiso said, have a meeting with the right person in the room. I love that. Daniel said, don't talk to your customers, but listen to them too. David said, know your client. If you get their business and know how it works, you can add value, but be perceived as cost. Tabiso said, do not talk tech, talk business owner to business owner. I love it. Okay. Great job, guys. I can't get my timer to shut off now. There we go. All right, Ryan, I'm going to let you choose both of these. Right. Who is your person for your $100 gift card winner?
That is
talk to me. Keep in mind, if you win this, I'm going to make you put and you have to be a webinar person. I keep in mind, people on Facebook cannot win this, Ryan, just so you know. They got to be local live on the webinar with us. So that's the ones with the ducks.
Yep. So the first one for the $100 is going to be Miriam Harding with the confused mind always says no.
Okay. So
I'm purposely choosing things that we say in this community often internally. Those are the ones that stuck.
So Miriam, congratulations. You have won a $100 gift card directly out of Ryan O'Hara's paycheck. Big fan of that. He doesn't know that until right now. So
money well spent.
Love it. Miriam, do me a favor, put into the webinar chat your business, your MSP email address, and we will be sending you a $100 tremendous.com gift card. And we got one more comment that just came in here from Chris. The more money a client spends, the more you should conduct. Yep, that's a good one. That was like in my viewpoint. Like we had a client with 3 clients, maybe 4 clients in my MSP we met with every month.
Yeah.
They were a big deal. They were 10K plus deals. There's Miriam's email address. Thank you, Miriam. Appreciate that. Good job. I won't put that on screen. Also, that is not simulcast out. The reason we do that, first of all, you got to come participate with us on the webinar. 2, when you share your email address, doesn't get pushed out to the public and on the internet. It's here on StreamYard. Second winner. What do you got, Ryan? Talk to me.
I'm going to go with one that we say maybe just even slightly more than that last one. It's probably one of the most difficult things for people to learn. So Sammy Brewer had email is where deals go to die. Like this is one of those things where everybody agrees with it, but everybody also like wants to send everything in an email, and it's really, really hard for people to pick up the phone. I
literally had to have a discussion with one of our staffers today. I literally said that out loud while we were on this webinar, just so you know. Like I literally said that. I sent her a message. She was talking to a vendor partner, and I said at 3:42 p.m., which is just over an hour ago, email is where deals go to die. That's how much I say it internally. Just so you guys know. And she's probably watching this, and she's probably going to yell at me. But I didn't drop her name. It's fine, Maria. It's fine, Maria. Okay, so Sammy, congratulations. Do me a favor, Sammy. Put your business, your MSP email address in the webinar chat, please. And we will get you a $250 tremendous.com gift card. The reason we use tremendous.com, guys, is because you can then cash it in for anything you want, like Visa debit card, whatever. You can go spend it in a 7-figure MSP swag store. Love that. All right. Ryan O'Hara, any parting words from you today? Sammy, please put your email address in the chat, because if I don't get it, we're going to pick somebody else.
My biggest thing to take away, because I think it's the foundational element that everything else gets built on, is just recognizing that you're the expert and speaking from that. One thing I tell people before they go into any of these presentations, whether it's a QBR, a TBR, a CSRA presentation, say out loud, I am the expert, because it just changes your entire delivery and the way that you speak and all of the things that come out of your mouth after that.
Yeah. Ryan, you picked 2 people from the same damn company.
That's the second time I've done that.
Ryan's no longer allowed to do this, by the way.
How is that even possible? Like, I don't have that telemetry.
Yeah, we don't even know who they are, for the record. So we're going to do one more person. We're going to do one more. We'll do one more $250 gift card. Ryan, pick somebody else, please.
All right, hang on. We had
now, hey guys, now it is coming out of Ryan's paycheck.
Right. We'll go with David Allen. Know your client, if you can get their business and how it works and add value, but be perceived as a cost.
Okay, so David Allen has won another $250 gift card. Directly.
Hopefully he's not at that same company too.
If David's from that company, Ryan, you're done. Like done. Okay, David, do me a favor. Put your business email in the chat. We fixed it. Ross, sorry you didn't win, but we fixed it. Okay, there we go. And David is from the UK, so David will probably have to get your PayPal email address, but Anne-Marie from our team will reach out to you. So just tell her what your PayPal is, or we'll figure it out and we'll pay you. So, okay. Yep, sounds good, guys. Appreciate it. Ryan O'Hara, great job today. Sorry, guys, about some of our challenges with tech and all that kind of stuff. That stuff happens once in a while. Is what it is. It's tech.
But we always push through.
Live webinars, and it is what it is. We got done in 2 hours. We'll see you guys soon. For Ryan O'Hara, my name's Chris Weiser. Would love to see you guys live with us in Denver at our Denver event, 7figuremspevents.com. If you can't make that, please book your strategy call. We'd love to talk to you. Shoot me a DM. Willing to work with you guys. Would love to have you in our program. We kill it. Would love to have you here, and we'll talk soon. Take care, and we'll see you later. Ryan, do not leave the room. We got to upload all your videos. So we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.